Welcome, classmates, Professor Zhang, to my screencast about my Creating Innovative Use of Technology project for EDU709 at CMU. 大家好. I did two different things. The first one is I embedded a spreadsheet into the wiki so that students could review characters. So here's the embed. The first cell is the explanation, and then students basically work their way down through the spreadsheet. I embedded it because since students have edit capabilities in the class wiki, they, in theory, can change anything that's there. So rather than having them be able to do that, I wanted them to be able to scroll through, but without being able to touch this. So the embed, since the embedded component doesn't really exist in the wiki, it's simply being displayed there, they can't really touch that. The other benefit here is that I can control how much of the screen the students see. So I can control here by the size of the window that they can only see one screen at a time, one cell at a time from the spreadsheet. They can work their way through. The Google spreadsheet starts here, and it's just a very convenient way to create something. I can share the spreadsheet with other teachers. I can share it with students if I wanted to. I can go and make corrections. I can control the font and the size and the color, etc. It's also very easy to update. If I find a mistake or if I want to add on to it, I just come in here and make changes. So for example, here's something I wrote. What are 4 other characters do we know with the same radical? So that's a typo. So I want to change that. I can just go in here and say, what 4 other characters do we know with the same radical? So I've corrected that. And you'll see here that it's wrong here as well. What are 4 other characters do we know? So that's a mistake. So back here in my spreadsheet, once I fix that, I can go in and just republish it. And by republishing, it will update the information. And by the way, this is also where I get the embed code. Here's the embed code. Very simple to embed into the wiki once you have that embed code. Now all I have to do is refresh this page, and when I come down here, it should be updated here as well. What 4 other characters do we know with the same radical? So it flows right through. So if I find mistakes or if I want to change it, update it, enhance it, whatever, I can do it very easily, and it will be reflected immediately in the wiki. So I really like this way of embedding things into a wiki for students to use. I could make it more complicated. I could, for example, give them an answer sheet that they had to fill in. I could even put something up on the side here where they type in, for example, a Google form or Google survey. I've chosen not to do that here, but you can make it more complicated. But in this case, I felt that this was enough. My second innovative use project is a little bit more complicated, although uses the same concept of embedding. Now, when I take you to this example, you'll notice that I'm switching from PBWiki to Wikispaces Wiki. And there's a reason for that. PBWiki would not allow me to embed one of the elements that I wanted to embed in this project. So I went back to a wiki that I've been using for a long time, Wikispaces, which I personally find to be more user-friendly than PBWiki. And in this case in particular, I really had to do this because PBWiki would not allow me to embed this, this piece of code. So my second example is a complete assessment test. In order to place a student in beginning Chinese, student in a Chinese, the correct Chinese level. A lot of students come into school and teachers have to do placement tests, but placement tests, if you do them one-on-one with a student, can be very time consuming. It's even time consuming if you have all the students come and sit in a room. This way, the students can take the test independently. They can work on it on their own, and the submissions all come to the teacher, which I'll show you in a second. So this test has 4 parts: speaking, listening, reading, writing, all the 4 language skills. What I've done is I've embedded 3 things in this wiki. The first is I've embedded surveys. The first one is this background information survey. The next is reading assessment. And I've also put in listening assessment Google survey. Under the listening assessments, I also have these Google surveys. For the listening, I also have embedded MP3s with the sound. So here's what one of them sounds like.
上个星期四，我跟3个好朋友在一家中国饭馆吃了晚饭。
So that's me giving the listening prompt, and then students will go down here and fill in the answers. In this case, for the writing assessment, because it's Chinese, and I think most Chinese teachers want to see the students handwrite characters, so I've said on a separate piece of paper, handwrite the essays, but a different language, a Romance language, a language with an alphabet, could just as easily create a Google form to type in. So let's take a look at the Google Forms. Here's my Chinese placement background information survey. Here's what a survey looks like when you create it. If you haven't created a Google form, a Google survey, it's very simple. You put in the information. There's my title, there's some information there, and there's my questions. And then the student goes and fills it in. So here's the background survey. So for example, please enter your name, James Raleigh. What grade are you going into? 7th grade. How many years have you been studying Chinese? 1. Have you studied traditional characters or simplified? Simplified. What's the name of the textbook you're using? What number in the series, etc. Okay, Ni Hao, book 1, lesson 8. And do you have any background in Chinese in your studies in China? Spent the summer in China. And then the student hits submit. And the beauty of this is, so your response has been recorded. The beauty is that it feeds directly into the spreadsheet. There's the information I just input this morning. James Raleigh, 7th grade, 1 year, Ni Hao book 1, lesson 8, spent the summer in China, simplified characters. So there's all the information that I've just put into the spreadsheet. As soon as I hit submit, automatically feeds into the spreadsheet. And as other students do it, this spreadsheet will just fill up with that information. So very easy for the teacher to come back and look at the results. And of course, the same thing will happen with the reading section and the listening section. So everything will kind of be aggregated in one place, allowing the teacher to very easily go and look at the results and correct it and assess the students' levels. For the listening assessment for the MP3, I simply used a wonderful free program called Audacity. Audacity basically allows you to record, edit, and save MP3 files. So here's an example. Hello everyone, this is your placement test. So now I've got a little mistake in there. Hello everyone, this is your placement test. So I'm going to delete that. Clean up the end here, take that sound out, and now I've got what I want. Hello everyone, this is your placement test. So then I can very easily export this as an MP3 file and then do whatever I want with it. In this case, come back here and embed into my wiki space so that students can play that for the listening. The last piece of this is this wonderful, wonderful program called Rich Internet Applications. And you have to click allow here to give the computer access, the program, sorry, access to your computer's microphone and camera. So I click allow here, and now I'm going to log in. So it's called Rich Internet Application. It's from it's from Michigan State University. The website looks like this, Rich Internet Applications. They have a large suite of wonderful tools, primarily for language teachers, although in some cases I think other teachers could use them. They have an audio Dropbox, a video Dropbox. They have a podcasting program. They have a wonderful Jeopardy-like game creator. They have a handwriting practice. They have worksheets you can create. The one that I'm particularly interested in for this case is called Conversations. Basically what it allows a teacher to do is create even though it's asynchronous, in other words, you're not talking to the student at the same time, but they hear your questions and then they give answers. And basically you can go in here and create as many as you want. I've been playing with this. And what it looks like back on the assessment is this. So I'm going to log in here. I'm going to say James Raleigh. I'm going to log in. And it's going to come up. Now you can see it's accessing my camera. And I'm going to click on real time. And it's actually I'm going to have a conversation with it. I'm going to have a limited amount of time to respond to the questions. So I only have 2 questions here.
你叫什么名字？你今年几岁？
我叫洛基，我今年51岁。
你是哪国人？你住在哪儿？
我是美国人，我住在纽约。Okay, there, and I finished the assessment. I've listened to 2 questions. I had actually 20 seconds to respond to each one, and now I'm going to submit this. Now, when the teacher goes into their conversations and they pull this up, so there's James Raleigh. There's the one I just did. The teacher pulls it up. They can, for example, just play the responses.
我叫洛基，我今年51岁。
There's the response 1.
我是美国人，我住在纽约。
There's response 2, or they can play back the entire thing, listening to the question.
你叫什么名字？你今年几岁？我叫洛基。
And then listening to the answer. So here, in this case, all of the student results would come down here and fill up. So this is a really nice way to give a student oral assessment without having to do it face-to-face. And if you have 1 student, it's fine. But if you have a lot of students, it'd be very difficult to give all of them the assessment. So again, the idea here is to make it relatively simple to give a placement test by embedding a number of different tools into the same wiki. The Google form or Google survey, MP3 files, the RIA, the Rich Internet Application conversations, all in the same place. So that's my 2 innovative uses of technology. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me via the course. I'm happy to share any of these tools with you, give you links, etc.